Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's your host, Eddie Arnell, my man, G-Whip, and my other fella, J. Lou. What's happening, gentlemen?
What's going on, gents?
Tighten up, man. Tighten up.
We finally still here, happened,
baby.
man.
We still here, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
So let me start off with the commentary this week, man. Come on in, guys. We want to get this one broke down because there's some interesting play today that we saw on the football field from the two-tone blue. And let me turn my volume up just a tad bit. Y'all can hear me pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
So 6 straight weeks, 6 straight wins, all playoff wins. The Titans continue to find ways to win, although it'd be ugly at times. We can all agree to that. Maybe even just a tad bit of luck. Football bouncing your way. That fumble last week, A.J. Brown recovers. Could go the other way. It could be the difference in the game. Injuries still piling up. Bud Dupree goes on IR this week. Janoris Jenkins is out. Swain, Long, Maben, McNichols, a list of players. Evans and Davis all out this week. And if you're a true Titans fan, you've been around for a while, you just had a feeling about this game today. And if you can honestly say that you wasn't surprised by the outcome of this game, then I would dare to question that. But results, Texans 22, Titans 13. Jay Lou, I'm gonna come to you first. Reactions, man, after this game today.
We've talked about it, Ed, and you talk about true Titan fans know they good to give you 1 or 2 eggs in a season where they shouldn't lose a game. I had that feeling about this game. 10.5 point favorite. That's never a good sign for these Titans. And then I think today you just seen injuries finally catching up. The identity of the team has been lost ever since that Halloween night 3 weeks ago now when the King went down. Yeah. I mean, we have yet to figure out the offense. And I know we're going to dig into it as we get into the show. But, one of the things that we kept mentioning last week and that some of the comments were coming in is you've got to allow these running backs to get a rhythm. And I feel like if you look at the stats from the running backs today, it's evenly spread out like you would throw the ball to wide receivers. And to me, they never got into a rhythm. And the run game was there. I mean, I know we got down a quick 19-0, but we've seen this team before not really shy away from the run with the King in there. So, I mean, it's never a good sign when we got Tanny trying to throw the ball 50 times. And you could see we were down to, I would assume, 4th, 5th, and 6th receivers today. Yep. So you could say, 4 interceptions looks ugly. A couple of them was where he was pressing. I feel like it was a combination of some of the receivers not knowing the routes and Tannehill just getting rid of the ball, hoping that they can make a play. And then, the same thing that we talked about last week reared its head again today. The defensive pass rush is lackluster. There was no rush today. We continue to struggle with mobile quarterbacks. That reared its ugly head today. I think Tyrod Taylor made some big plays with his legs. And again, when you look at stats, the Titans dominated this game, and that's the flip. The last 2 weeks we've won, and we ain't done nothing when it looks at stats. So, overall, like you said, Ed, you can't win them all. You'd hope so. But now you just got to take this licking and be ready to go to New England next week. And that bye is oh so close, but it still seems so far. So you got one more in between that. Let's just face it, that's going to be a tough battle next week. But overall, again, we've lost 2 games to 2 teams combined with 3 wins?
Right.
And I'll say more.
Right. And G, I'm going to let you go, man. But, we talked about this last year a bunch. 52 pass attempts for Tannehill. And you see the result. But go ahead, G. Let's hear your first reactions after this game today.
Oh, okay. Bottom line on this game, man. Let's just be real about it. We always complained about how other teams always the news media always looks at our games, and it's not so much how the Titans win, but how the other team lost. Today was the exact opposite. It was how we lost the game. And it started with the first drive, and it never got up. We consistently shot ourselves in the foot.
Yep.
On every drive. Tannehill throwing the ball. Tannehill was back to being Tannehill from Miami. Pressing, trying to make plays with his arms when he really couldn't. Even though we had over 100 yards rushing, we still don't have a solid running game. I thought the defense kind of vindicated themselves in the second half, especially. I thought they played a little bit better, but I agree with you, J. Lou. The fact that they did not have a spy on Tyrod Taylor doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he just had too many open opportunities to run the ball. He didn't gain a whole lot of yards, but he got them when he needed them. Chris Jackson hurt his foot again, but before that, he was playing such soft coverage. It was just like, I'm going to give you the first down. As long as you don't beat me deep, I'm okay. It's just one of those games, man. It was just one of those games. You felt it going in. You just had a bad feeling it was going to be like this because they've been dodging the bullet for the past couple of weeks since the King went down. It just showed up today. I mean, it's just basically you cannot turn the ball over. Vrabel said 5 times. I'm going to say 7 because they failed on 2 fourth down conversions.
Right.
So, and one of them was so pitiful. Why you have Adrian Peterson in that game with him running high on the 4th and 1, I'll never know. That just didn't make any sense whatsoever. The OC, he doesn't know what to do with this team right now because he doesn't have the King, so he doesn't have any idea of how to make this offense work. I thought Shane Bowen took a step back with his play calling today. It was just one of them games where, man, we just consistently shot ourselves in the foot. And going into New England next week, chances are A.J. Brown won't be playing because he got blowed up on the sideline and ended up not coming back in the game after Tannehill threw him a bad pass in the first quarter and got his hand clocked. I give A.J. Brown credit for toughness, but what they did just didn't make any sense today. It was just pitiful. It was one of those pitiful games.
Yeah, and I agree with you both. Some of my reactions were the offense couldn't get anything going particularly in the first half. The play calling again, down in he's up one week, he's down the next. I guess he's the perfect OC for this team. How they are bipolar every other week. Just too many mistakes, like you said, G-Wit. Bad passes, drop footballs, penalties in bad situations. The 7 turnovers statistically is 5, but I agree the 7 turnovers. And even going for it on 4th down, the play calling. Your running game was already struggling, right? Yes. And like you said, you got Adrian Peterson right up the middle, which he could, but he runs still kind of high. Why not bootleg off that? Why not? You had 8 to 9 people in the box in tight formation.
Man, he went straight up into his own offensive lineman. He did. He didn't even try to cut away from him.
He did. So, I'm going to say this, and the running lanes were actually there more today than they have been in the past few weeks. The running game didn't look as bad. We did, like you said, we had to combine all 3 running backs with 100 yards, which this was the best game they've had since Derrick Henry's went down. And I thought we had an opportunity there to run the ball more during the game, but, we saw what happened. The defense could get any pressure. Again, we talked about Shane Bowen last week. Why is he so in love with this 4-man rush when you cannot get near the quarterback the last 2 games, right? The coverage is bad. You mentioned that, G-Wit. And then to top it off, there was no containment. Everybody that was rushing, even in the stunts with the defensive line, the outside guy on the containment was getting sucked inside. I don't know why they were losing containment so much today. Of all days against a mobile quarterback today. And so that was some of my first reaction, man. So let's get into the offense and break it down. Like you said, 420 yards of total offense. Usually we talking about this on the flip side, the Titans getting outgained and winning the game. But today was the total opposite. Like you mentioned already, Tannehill with 52 passing attempts. That's way too many passing attempts. I mean, I don't care who's your running back. That's just way too many for Tannehill because we saw today, and let me say this too. I saw a lot of people ready to trash and ready to throw him away, but this is the same guy that's been winning the games, without Derrick Henry. So let's not get crazy here. He's still the quarterback. He just had everybody is entitled to a bad game. He just had a bad game today.
He just went back to being Tannehill from Miami.
Right.
And he's been, let's just be honest about it. He's been skirting with this all season.
Yeah, definitely.
And today, like 52 pass attempts is way too many for him. We've said that since he's been the starter. Right. You don't want him throwing the ball 30 plus times a game because you're going to be in trouble. He's going to make too many mistakes, and that's what happened today.
And you saw exactly what happened today. So, but 103 yards total for rushing. AP was 9 for 40. Hilliard 7 for 35. I thought Hilliard ran the ball pretty good today, guys. I thought he was the best of the three.
He should have kept him and Deontay
Foreman
were the two best ones running the ball. I mean, don't get me wrong. AP had a couple of good runs, but those two were actually running between the tackle and making first downs and everything consistently. So, and catching the ball out the backfield.
Right. But and Tannehill, he's got 8 picks this year so far, had 9 total for last year. So, it's not like it's gonna get any easier. You got to go to Foxborough.
I think he had 8 coming into the game.
He did.
Okay, well, they just hadn't updated. They hadn't updated.
Yeah, he's got 11 for the. He's got 13 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
Yeah, they got to update the stats then. But anyway, so y'all got me. Yeah, appreciate that. 11, and last year he had 9 total. So, and we still got more football to go.
Right.
with 6 more games left, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. And so, with AJ Brown going down, what do we have left, J. Lou, for this offense next week going against a tough New England defense?
Yeah, it goes back to that Jets game. If you go back to that Jets game that we lost, where we treated that as a bye, is what I'm going to say, with some of the injuries and putting them down early in the season.
Right.
We just don't have a lot of receivers. And I think that's part of the problem you saw with Tannehill today, not having a running game and then not really having receivers that playing a lot. Now, I will say some good that comes out of it. You continue to like what Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is doing. He's definitely 7 for 107 with 8. He only had 1 miss. He 8 targets, 7 receptions. So you like to see him solidifying himself as a 3. I think that the depth came into play when we had Marcus Johnson go down early with that dreaded hamstring. I mean, we can't get a hamstring for nothing with this wide receiver room. And then of course with AJ Brown going down. Now I do think that, and you saw it early with the first interception that Tannehill was trying to force feed the ball to AJ Brown, and the linebacker just was there. And then again, to your point, I think G with a little bit, Tannehill was just too high on some of these passes today. So you wonder if, some of that is just overcompensating for really not practicing with a lot of these receivers that played today. It was good to see. I mean, another silver lining. It was good to see Fitzpatrick, who he was on the chopping block. They cut him, put him on the practice squad. It was good to see him get some reps and get in the end zone and catch the ball. I thought he caught it pretty well. So you're hoping this week, if AJ doesn't go next week, that you can really get these guys to really get some practice time in and hopefully get that rhythm down and hopefully perform better. Now, I thought one thing I liked the Titans did today on offense was I felt like they called the hurry up a little more. But then to your point, G, we would shoot ourselves in the foot. I think rushing too much. I like the hurry up offense. I hate when we run it and snap the ball with 20 seconds left. I don't think that fits our offense. I think getting to the line, getting set, and letting them run that play clock down to that 5-second range to really see what the defense is getting you, especially when you got a lot of guys. I mean, you saw a couple of times where running backs didn't know which way to go. There was twice that I saw a wide receiver definitely didn't run the right route.
Yeah.
So again, that goes back to what we all say, play calling. You've got to put the guys. I felt like Houston they played to their strengths. Tyrod Taylor, to me, did not have any bad play calls that put him in a situation where he would have lost that game.
Right.
And on the flip side, we had bad situations on our offense. So just got to clean that up, I think, Ed, for this upcoming week.
Yeah, and G, go ahead. G, let me say this, and I'm gonna get to you, man. I'm gonna get some of these comments in because they're gonna talk more about the offense as we go into it. So yeah, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Appreciate that, Nathan Moat. Taylor says Tannehill's feeling the effects of not having to cover the king, obviously and truthfully. Even so, Tannehill got to make better decisions to be more accurate. I agree with you, man. And then Lamonte says everybody's got an excuse for Tannehill. He's just not that guy. He's not that quarterback, and we can't win with him this season. If we don't win with him this season, we're not going to win with him now, and we won't go going forward either. And so, G Wick, what do you say about Tannehill? I mean, we know he had a bad game, but is he the guy? I mean, does it all fall on his shoulders today?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, and I'll just have to be honest about that.
Yeah,
when you throw 4 picks, it falls on your shoulders. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, the big 3 are gone, so I understand that. That's no big deal. But still, at the same time, you have got to play better than what he did.
Bad decisions. Yep.
It's just bad decisions. Like I said, he was Miami Tannehill today.
Yep.
And he was just like what we said what we've always said about him ever since we signed him. Even when he was playing good, he's still.
He still got one in his pocket. Yeah, he got one in his pocket.
And I'm going to say this too, because I was really perturbed with Downing today, because you saw, like you said earlier, Houston played to Tyrod Taylor's strength.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
To where he can make plays, constantly moving the pocket, constantly rolling them out. And we've been saying that about Downing to do with Tannehill all season long.
Yes.
When your offensive line is struggling, move the pocket, man.
Move it.
Move it.
He's not moving it at all.
Now, granted, you saw some plays where, like one time, Tannehill scrambled out looking for somebody to pass the ball to on that fourth down play where they missed the opportunity. If Hilliard keeps running, he's the short man that he can throw it to instead of trying to make it work for Firsker.
And Chester Rogers was open in the middle of the field too. He didn't
wide open.
Yeah, but you gotta. That's what I'm saying. It's just like he's not seeing the field, and he's not knowing who to throw the ball to, and he's really struggling right now. Receiving wise, AJ Brown going down hurt big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no threat on the field now.
yeah. I mean, there's no threat anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The only threat you got really was Tannehill, and they knew they had him covered because they was playing that base defense.
Cover two.
Keeping everything covered.
It's beautiful.
Tannehill he had receivers that didn't know how to get open.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's just be real about it.
Yes.
You saw it on that last pick, but the Des pick, Patrick. You saw that last pick. He didn't even.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he just stopped his route and didn't even try to work himself open. Right.
Yeah. So you starting to see these things, and it's like, I knew the King going down was going to hurt, but obviously Todd Downing and his he doesn't have much of an imagination when it comes to offense as far as trying to work with what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
He really just doesn't have much. I thought coming out, going the quick offense, I thought that was a good move, try to get a rhythm going. But even then, like I said, Tannehill was off in that route because he almost got AJ Brown's hand taken off with that first pass he threw to him. I was like, it's a bad throw, man. You got him reaching.
Yes.
And he got clocked by the defender coming in, and that's why he had to go to the sideline. Bottom line, this is just a bad game. It was just bad. You're
right. I mean, you saw it, like I said, from the beginning. It just seemed like it was one of those games that they were gonna lay down, and this talking during the week. I just had that feeling, man. I don't know what it was, but I could just feel it was time for that luck to run out, that ball to bounce the opposite way, that blown coverage that happened for us more often, and that missed block or missed tackle. And so, Will says Tanner is supposed to elevate the players around him. When the King went down so far, he's not. Deion said, let's just call it, man, it's Logan Woodside time, baby. I don't know about that.
Nah, not gonna say that.
Right. So let's look at the defensive side of the ball. One telling thing I'm gonna say about this: 190 yards of total offense, which is great. I mean, you can win football games giving up yards like that, but what you can't win with is missed tackles and bad coverage. And so it's so bad now. The injuries are so bad now is that you got your best pass rusher in coverage for the majority of the game and not rushing passing.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's due to injuries, really, because there's no outside linebackers that's posing a threat as far as the pass rush. And so, G-Wit, man, talk to me about this defense today.
All right. I'm not going to give too much. I know we complained about the pass rush the past two games, but one of the reasons for that, if you notice, is that these two quarterbacks got rid of the ball quick.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't going to have time to get there. The problem you had with the pass rush today was that the coverage was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris Jackson is lining up 7 yards off the line of scrimmage from the get-go
every play
and steadily backing up.
Yep.
I mean, by the time the ball snapped, he's 10 yards away from the defender.
Right.
Like, you can't cover anybody like that. You just giving up the short passes.
Exactly.
And he's out. I mean, he got a little bit better after that. I thought after midway through the second quarter, I thought the defense picked it up a notch.
Yeah.
They did.
But let's be real about it. It's hard to stop people from scoring when you're giving up balls inside the 10-yard line.
Yes.
That's right.
I mean, Tannehill threw a pick that should have been a pick 6 if it wasn't for Hilliard making the tackle, but still,
Great
they
hustle.
get all the way down to they're down at the 6-yard line. Chester Rogers lets a punt go off his ankle. They're down there inside the 5, and defense held. I mean,
Give
again,
credit.
if they have a spy on Tyrod Taylor, maybe he doesn't score those touchdowns, but they never did. They never put a spy on him, and so the coverage was good, but nobody ever accounted for him.
Right.
And you can't expect the defensive line. The defensive lineman is not going to catch Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
He's just not going to do it. So I thought defense kind of picked themselves up. I mean, come on, let's give them credit. They gave up 22 points.
Right.
And the offense turned the ball over 7 times.
And
they only gave up 22 points.
Considering how many times they had it inside the red zone today.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. They held them to field goals quite a few times.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, because the offense was just giving the ball like candy, like, here, take it. So I'm not going to be as hard on the defense as I was on the offense, but because I thought the defense brought themselves back up, to par. And the fact of the way they played, they started getting after people. They stopped the run, because at the beginning they were running the ball pretty effectively on us, but they got to the point to where they were stopping the run. They didn't get a sack, but a couple of times they got some pretty good pressure. But again, they lose containment, and it just drove you crazy. The first time was when Danico Autry had outside contain. He went in and Jeffrey Simmons got knocked down. So. I mean, it's just one of them things where it was just happening way too much. Not having a spy on Tyrod Taylor is the most egregious thing I thought in the defense, because there's no way you play them and not have a spy on them.
Well, I mean, even if you don't have a spy, you got to keep containment. You got to keep containment, and they lost it all day for the most part. And the other thing too, I will say, going along with J. Lou just said, the injuries are catching up with them, man. Oh yeah. The
injuries are catching
obvious.
up with them.
Yeah.
I mean, your starting linebackers are all out.
Right.
And the ones you got in there, they just got here.
Dylan Cole, Monty Rice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's be real about it. They don't really know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. So, it's just one of them things, man. It's just one of them games. It's just one of them games. We could go all day talking about what went wrong.
I know. You can. Thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnell G with J. Lou.
Yes,
Tighten up, man. We still here. J. Lou, the defense, man. We talked about it, but let's talk about Fat Randy for a second, because that extra point was huge. The extra points was huge in the game that he missed.
Yeah, that extra point ended up making you changing your strategy, because you could have been down by 8 instead of 9.
Right.
From that standpoint, I thought special teams, and again, field conditions was sloppy. Sloppy wet out there. I'm sure the Titans are glad that the soccer team announced that their stadium will be ready in April early now, where they can stop having these double duties, especially as you get late into this year on that field, man. Because I don't know how it looked across TV, but that field looked terrible in person today.
Yeah,
it was terrible before the rain started.
Yeah.
Today, but defense wise, G-Wit, you brought it up last week, and I kind of paid a little bit of attention to it today, and you were right. I think part of the reason we didn't have a spy is because of the linebackers we had.
Right.
And there is a big drop off between Jayon Brown and Monty Rice, and it's David Long and Evans.
Yeah.
I never thought we'd say we miss Evans, but you just see it on the inside linebacker play. And
right.
I'll say this too. I kind of miss Jackrabbit today. Because we say what we will about Jackrabbit, but he's been getting better over the last couple of weeks for what we expect. But Jackson's at the point now, man, where they're going to have to get with him on the practice field. He's in his own head. He got torched up and down the field last week, and then he came back this week. And the Texans don't have a threat as a wide receiver, because Cooks was lined up with our best DB the whole day, and
he was quiet.
He was quiet. And again, Jackson 10, 12 yards. That was the funny thing. He's 7 yards off the ball, and then it snapped. He's kept backing up. He just kept backing up. So, and again, I don't think we've seen a game like this with as many sloppy missed tackles. I will say again, just to point out some highlights, we continue to see the development of Molden. I thought that third down tackle that he made was spot on where he's going to be as a football player. I mean, he came up and leveled that wide receiver on that play. So you continue to see him getting better. Again, to your point, with no outside linebacker rush, I guess Roberson, they were still trying to ring him in because I thought we would have saw some more playing time out of him.
Right.
But I think that, to your point, that did impact Landry. And I think where we're seeing it come on Landry. Landry is very durable. I'm gonna knock on wood because I don't want to be hurt next week, but he's been very durable. But I think with us having to have him in so much pass coverage,
wearing him out.
it's wearing him out.
Right.
And again, up the middle, I thought Big Jeff again did Big Jeff things.
Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart until the very end when he gets hurt. Pop-Tart was doing Pop-Tart thing. And even
Naquan.
John Naquan.
Yeah.
That I think that interior is playing well. I think again when we talk about the injury bug, I think it's really hurting on defense too, because while these guys were so good at the beginning of the year, we had so much rotation going on. And
That's
now
right.
some of these rotation players are playing 85% of the play. So again, just get back on the practice field and just get on to New England.
Yeah, because you playing and I agree with you, Taylor. You playing second, third, fourth team guys, some special teams guys that never get snaps on the field other than special teams.
Dylan Cole played 25% of the snaps on defense today.
He did. So you got those guys. You got Dunsbar playing. He's a special teams guy. And so you got a lot of guys that are filling in that are not regular players, not regular contributors on the field other than special teams. And so, you just going to have to overcome it the best way you can. And, and like you said, the defense, it played pretty well considering the position they were put in today.
Yeah.
A huge extra point. But bottom line is you cannot turn the football over and beat anybody. I don't care who it is. Like I said, 5 statistical turnovers, but I agree with you, G, with the 2 missed fourth down conversions or add 2 more turnovers because you turn the ball right over. And so as you look at the AFC South standings, the Titans are still sitting in the first place at 8-3, 3-1 in the division. The Colts beat the Bills down today. They're 6-5, 2-2, a game back in a division. But, of course, we got a tiebreaker over them. 41-15 over the Bills. Of course, the Texans beat us today, and the Jags, they lost to the 49ers 30-10. And so now it doesn't get any easier, doesn't get any better. Playing one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, winners of 6 of 7 and 5 straight. And if you saw the game Thursday night, they beat the Falcons down 25-0. And that is the New England Patriots with, I'm not going to call him Tom Brady, but he's like a Tom Brady 3.0, kind of a knockoff. But he's still Mac Jones is still proven to be an efficient quarterback right now. And, the defense is balling. Judon is added a pass rush to that defense. J.C. Jackson is leading the team.
Noy.
Yeah, Van Noy is back. J.C. Jackson's leading them in interceptions. And so, guys, another tough battle on the road in New England this time of year where it's tough. And when your running game is not producing. So, G. Witt, man, talk to me, man. What we going to do, baby? What we going to do?
Oh, man, you're at the point right now, you just want to see some consistency out of them. Really. And really, that's all you're trying to find. Get some consistency. Consistently drive the ball and get scores.
Right.
I mean, you're going to kick field goals or whatever, but consistently drive the ball and get scores. I mean, cut the mistakes out. I mean, we've been living on the edge. I'm going to say ever since the first Colts game when we had those three turnovers and we still won. We've been living on the razor's edge since then.
That's right.
It really just doesn't make any sense how often we're turning the ball over right now. And I mean, it's and Tannehill, he's throwing a bunch of interceptions, but we're fumbling the ball all over the place. I mean, we have no tight end play.
Zero
at all. That's going to be the one move J. Rob is going to have to rectify in the offseason. First, turned out not to be what they were hoping he was going to be. Not at all, not even close. He's so bad, he's not even getting hard. He's hardly getting targeted. And today, I mean, I'm looking at him I'm like, dude, you're not even getting proper depth on your routes.
At all.
You're on a third down and you run a route that's a yard short. Come on.
It was, hold on. On that specific play, G. Witt, it was 3rd and 2.
Right.
And he ran a 1 yard route.
Right. He did. You're exactly right. Thank you for that.
I was looking at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, it's just one of these days where you just got to see him play better in spite of all the injuries. The problem we're going to have really with the Patriots and our offense is the fact that Again, AJ Brown, I don't expect to see him play, and we just have nobody that's a threat. And there's nobody that's going to put any kind of fear in New England on that defensive side of the ball. And they're going to force, like they tried to do, like they did in the playoff game, they're going to force it to be Tannehill to beat you. And Belichick knows, because he played Tannehill when he was in Miami. Yep. If you make Tannehill the focal point, he's not going to beat you. He's going to make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
and he's going to force the ball.
That's right. So, J. Lou, man, Judon, 10.5 sacks. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for the offensive line. And, I mean, I agree with you, man. We need to pick one running back and stick with him, let him get hot and see what he does.
Yeah, we've got to, man. And I'm just going to be honest, as we're talking about that, AP needs to be third on the depth chart right now at the running back position. I mean,
I agree.
We said it when he was signed. I mean, how much were we getting from the 36-year-old? I thought Foreman and the kid Dillard that just got up from practice squad both played very well, but and again, I don't even think AP played a lot when you got just looking in that second half.
He didn't.
And I think part of that is that they were seeing that the other two were giving them our best bang for a buck. And again, we went into shotgun a lot more, so that kind of changed that. But I think next week, man, it's gonna be tough. I mean, we're talking about the first place New England Patriots after that Bills loss today. So I mean, it's still a rookie quarterback, and we've seen the ups and downs with Jones. This is one of those games that if we can muster up a pass rush that we've seen 3 weeks ago, I think we can get to him, because again, Mac Jones will give you an opportunity to stay into the game.
Right.
Bill has that defense starting to roll. I think today, and quote me if I'm wrong, they might have been the first day, and I'm not going to win again, that we didn't have an offensive lineman get injured during the game.
Right.
Like, I think they played the whole snaps, and I gave up what 1 or 2 sacks, which I think one of them was, Teddy Hill holding the ball a little long. So if they can continue to gel, you hope that I thought Brewer held up a little better.
He did.
But you would hope for Davis to get out of concussion protocol. And again, we just got to go up there, and if we stick to the thing about trying to just establish the running game with one running back instead of by committee, I think we have a chance. I think that's where we lose the rhythm. But again, this is a game where we're going to need the defense to really do better than they did today, holding us in there. And we just got to force some turnovers. And again, I think Mac Jones can give you a couple. And at this point in time, you still number 1 seed in the AFC by half a game. So you still got a lot to play for and can still set yourself up. But you can't. And again, I'm sure Vrabel will stress it. You can't overlook the Patriots to be looking to the bye week, because I know it's. I mean, the NFL did us no. We talk about it this year. Next year we have bye week 4, and be complaining about that. But you can't look ahead. You got to get through this, and then really get yourself in position to go down this home stretch in December.
That's right.
And man, I'm going to tell you, man, it's going to be rough. But I agree with you totally. They're going to have to put decide on one running back and stick with him.
Deontay Foreman.
You got to stick with them, or decide on 2.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have this three guy rotation, because again, nobody gets in a rhythm, nobody gets warmed up.
Right.
It was the same thing we used to complain about with Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Yes.
You run him twice and then you pull him out and put Deion Lewis in. He can't even get worked up doing stuff like that. It just don't make any. It doesn't make any kind of sense. But again, like I said, Todd Downing has reverted back as far as offensive play calling is concerned, and I think he I don't know, his imagination is just not there. He cannot create. He's not creating any plays that's going to work for the team. I thought the offensive line actually did a pretty good job today overall. Like you said, there were running lanes there, just running backs missing them. I thought the pass protection was pretty good overall. Mm-hmm. But when it got to the point to where they know you're just going to pass, there's not a whole lot you can really do.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with all the comments saying Foreman should be the starter. He should, and Hiller should be the change of pace back. I agree with you. Agree with all those comments, gentlemen. And so, as I look at the Patriots roster, this is probably the first time in a while that we actually match up pretty good as far as the secondary and their receivers. What happened? I'm okay. But anyway, you read the comment. But anyway, yeah. So I think we match up fairly well. Nelson Aguilar, he's a fast guy, but I think we can lock him up. And so it just comes down to, again, like you said, Jay Lou, getting pressure on Mac Jones. They do have a solid run game with Damian Harris and Stevenson, the rookie. And so and a pretty solid offensive line, the truth be told. And so we've got to be able to create pressure and shut down that offense. And I think we can match up with this offense and shut them down, limit their big plays capability that they have.
The problem you're going to have is the same problem we've been having the past 2 games. They're going to go with a quick passing game.
Oh, yeah, that's what they do, right? That's what they do.
But I'm just saying, that's the reason we don't have a pass rush, though.
Okay,
they're going with that quick pass, and our coverage has been subpar.
So guess what you got to do then? You got to bring your DBs up and stop playing them 5 to 7 yards off.
Yes,
and interrupt the timing of the receivers so you can get some pressure, and he bring a 5th guy if need be. I mean, that's I'm not even the coach, and that's pretty simple to me.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I was looking at the game today, wondering why everybody was playing 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like you said, the only receiver that has any kind of speed was Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
and he couldn't get away from anybody. That's why I couldn't figure out why Jackson was playing 10 yards off the other receiver.
Right. Well, and I think Jay Lou said it best. He was just still from last week. He was still shook up.
Oh yeah, he's still shook.
He don't want to get beat deep no more.
Nope.
Well, he ain't got to worry about it now, because if chances are he probably won't be playing Sunday.
Right.
But that makes you wonder. I mean, we look at Breon Border, somebody that came in and did good last year for us, and some this year. He didn't see the field a lot today.
Not a lot today.
I mean, and I don't know if that's just, again, us being stubborn, because again, I can see it from the stands. I'm sure you can see it on TV. Mm-hmm. Jackson is shook. Why not put Borders in there? Because I agree with what you said. The Texans didn't have a wide receiver that scares you. Next week, really don't have a wide receiver. Now, this will be the tight end revenge game, because John New will go off for 200 yards next week. But
Davis did.
When you look on the outside, they don't have anybody that scares us. On paper, we should match up a little bit better with this team.
Right, exactly. And so, guys, again, we thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnell, G with J. Lou. Titans fall to the Texans 22-13. Hey, like you said, it is what it is. We shake this one off. We go on the next week. We can't stew over this for too long. It was ugly, and it was a loss, and it was a division loss, which is another thing that hurts. Yes, but we've got to come out, and again, we've been saying this mantra since how many weeks ago. Next man up. The injury list is so long. It's ridiculously long.
Man, it's got to be at least. Put it like this: we now know what the 49ers felt like last year.
Right. Exactly.
So you bring that up. It was a stat that I read. The Titans will set the record. If we didn't set it today, it'll be next week, what most players use. And the 4 teams that have had that in the last 3 or 4 years is when they said it. No team has had a winning record. None. So that just goes to kind of show you Vrabel's doing something right with this coaching staff to be we should not be an 8-3 football team with the injuries we have. And when you bring up the 49ers, who seem like they lost everybody every week last year, and we know how that turned out for them. So he's just got to right the ship. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think you can start to see some of these guys get some return dates. We've just got to hold the ship steady until we get there.
And I think that's why you see a lot of the media not giving the Titans any credit for being, Keyshawn said they're not a real 8-2 team. Well, right. It's because there's so many people injured, right? Yeah. And I think Taylor said it earlier. The Titans have been playing with house money the past few weeks, and they've been winning, right? If you want to take them to Vegas, you could, because they probably win you some money the last few weeks. But it's frustrating. And I agree with you, Dion. It's frustrating that everybody can see that the simple fixes the coaches need to make, and they just hadn't been doing it. So but it is what it is. We move on to the Patriots. A tough road game. New England this time of year. Don't know what the weather's gonna be like right now, but it's gonna be raining and cold and probably freeze.
Man, this is just crazy, man. It is New England back at it again, man.
Back at it again.
And they got Mac Jones, who's just doing what he's told.
Right.
And they got to just stop the running game. They got to make it.
But to your point earlier, though, about the quarterback getting rid of the ball, there's a team that knows how to play to their quarterback strengths. You don't give them a lot to think about. Hey, you throw these 5, 6, 7 yard routes, and every once in a while you get the defense sucked up. You throw the deep ball. right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's what he's been doing week in and week out. You got to give credit to Josh McDaniels for tailoring that offense to his skill set, and it's just gonna be a tough game, man. It's gonna be. It's nothing else I can say. Deion says our trainer and conditioning staff should be under investigation this offseason. Every year we have a ton of injuries. Another hamstring injury though, man. It's so weird that these soft tissue injuries keep popping up on this football team.
Everybody's having
this late in the season too.
That's really unusual.
That's the unusual part.
And Marcus Johnson was reaching for a ball.
That's it. Right. Just reach for the ball.
That's all he did.
Right.
I'm like, and I saw when they showed the replay, I'm like, he grabbed his hamstring.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, what the heck is going on with these guys?
Right.
You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, because Harold Landry is having problems with his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can see his, but I mean, he's just fighting through it. So I guess some people can and some people can't.
It's just now it just makes you wonder how much strength and conditioning is taking place during the week. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you know, you can still lift weights during the season, but
not only during the week, but you're wondering because again, it looks bad because we're the local team and we know how many injuries you got, but it's all over the league. You wonder how much of the collective bargain agreement they've had where they've went to less practices and less time in the offseason. How much is that really starting to catch up as you get late in the season now?
Right. And I agree with you. Will says they putting something in the Gatorade.
They may be. They doing something, man.
I still say it goes back to preseason, man. When your players don't play and don't practice.
Yep.
I mean, it's just this is what week 11.
Week 11.
I mean, it's gonna take a toll sooner or later, and it's taking a toll right now. But anyway,
but let's be real about it. We knew this was gonna catch up with us sooner or later when you have a late bye like we got and the schedule that we had. I mean, coming through the gauntlet like we did. I mean, we came through that 6-0, which really none of us expected that.
No,
right?
And you had to come to the conclusion it was going to end somehow, and you knew with the Texans coming off a bye. Tyrod Taylor's the quarterback. You knew the time was right for one because I mean we've been skating by with injuries and everything and winning games. It's just going to be one of those things. So I don't know if this rights the ship. Sometimes a loss like this make you start paying attention more. When you're struggling and you're winning, you shake them off a little bit better, a little bit easier. But when you go out there and you commit 7 turnovers, that's a wake up call for you. You know you're doing something wrong.
So I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna get out.
Go ahead, say it.
Because you know what I'm about to say. Yep. So just like I said before the Buffalo game, Vrabel has a knack for getting this team up when they are going to be an underdog, and I bet you they will be an underdog this week.
Absolutely.
So don't be surprised they come out and they smack New England in the mouth. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And people will be like,
typical Titans.
And people are like, oh, well, New England just lost the game. They didn't play well,
Absolutely.
You know how they do, man. You know how they do.
Yeah.
But anyway.
but thank the good Lord for this bye week coming up because we need it.
So right. And we'll get into that more next week, but expect some things after the bye week. You get some people back and we be ready to rock and roll. So
that and question I got, I think I'll be honest with you. You keep talking about the pass rush. I think if we can get Bud Dupree to where he's healthy, that's going to benefit the pass rush a lot more because he gives you another person on that defensive line you got to account for.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I know we're getting ready to sound up, but let me say this, man, because I don't know if y'all saw this. So I saw some people talking about Bud Dupree they was comparing him to Clowney. And let me say this. No. Bud Dupree has done more in this season in limited amount of play than Clowney has done
the whole season
last year and the whole season with the Browns this year.
Yes.
And so even though Bud Dupree's got one sack, I know he's got one sack. Go ahead.
Whoa. Clowney's back to being Clowney with Cleveland?
Man, me and Jay Lou was texting back and forth one of the games, and I don't even think he bursted a grape. Didn't even know he was on the field.
No, because everybody gave me the blues about him last year.
Oh, I know it. All I want to say is Bud Dupree is not on the same level.
No, not even close. Not even close.
Now you saw Bud. You see Bud Dupree's worth when they got him out there, even if he's not making sacks or whatever. because he makes plays that don't get in the stat book.
He's got closing speed.
He's got closing speed.
Yeah,
he plays the run well.
Yep.
I mean, he plays hard when he's out there. The question this year is about health. He just can't stay healthy right now.
But anyway, guys, we appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We appreciate all the comments and questions. And if we didn't get to it, I'm telling you, we'll answer it on our page. But this is Eddie Arnell, G with J. Lou for Halftime Adjustments. Catch us next week. We'll be back talking about that dub over the Patriots, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it. And if it don't happen, it don't happen, man. It's football, right?
No, stick with it. You said it.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it just like I said. Just like I said before Buffalo, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come out and Vrabel's gonna have the guys ready to ball. I'm just saying. Anyway, Big Jeffrey gonna meet Mac Jones face to face several times. He gonna get real acquainted with Big Jeffrey and Danico. I'm telling you. But guys, again, thank y'all for joining us. We are here for Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnell, G with J. Lou.
Stay up, baby.
Check us out next Sunday, man. We out. Peace.
Peace.